Hello, dear students. Welcome to the second part of the most important MCQ and 1 mark questions of ninth standard. In the part 1, you have discussed up to Muhammad Ghazni and Muhammad Ghor. Today, I take you to Delhi Sultanates as well as the four Acharyas, right? Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and Basveshwara, and their principles. So, Gulami dynasty, that is slave dynasty. Qutbuddin Aibak, who was a slave of Muhammad Ghor, established Turks' rule in Delhi. All the red color wordings are important in the examination point of view. Qutbuddin belonged to a family of Afghanistan Turks and was sold to a Qaji of Nishapur. He was sold as slave by his guardians. Slave trade was quite common during those days. Aibak ruled independently after the death of Muhammad Ghori in Delhi. Aibak built the Quwwat-ul-Islam Mosque in Delhi. He also started building Qutub Minar there itself. A work named Tajul Masir provides information on Qutbuddin Aibak. Now let us know his successor Iltamash. Iltamash belonged to Ilbari family and was a slave of Qutbuddin Aibak. Iltamash defeated Ghazni's king Tajuddin Eldoj and Sindh's ruler Nasruddin Kabaja, and then conquered many number of places like Ranatambor, Mandora, Gwalior, Bhilsa, Ajmer, Banaras, and Kannauj. Iltamash achievements are many. Because of that, the Caliph of Baghdad issued a letter of bestowing administrative power to him. Iltamash divided his kingdom into iqtas, that is, provinces, and appointed iqtadars, that is, provincial officers, to run administration. Iltamash appointed a group of 40 sardars to advise him in administrative issues. Iltamash brought gold and silver coins into circulation. He completed the construction of Qutub Minar, which Qutbuddin had started to build during his time. Now, let us know about Razia Sultana. She was the first woman to ascend throne of Delhi Sultanate. She earned the title of Sultana and participated in battle dressing as a man. She established her rule from Sindh to Bengal. But her officials were unable to tolerate rule, so revolted and killed her. Afterwards, Ghiyasuddin Balban came to power. Balban was a slave of Iltamash. The Turkish Sardars supported Balban during the political unrest that emerged after the death of Razia Sultana. Balban became the Sultan of Delhi. Now, let us know about Khilji dynasty. Jalaluddin established Khilji dynasty. Alauddin Khilji is the most famous ruler of Khilji dynasty, defeated the Rajput king Karnadeva II of Waghela dynasty and Hamiradeva of Ranatambor and Bhim Singh of Chittor. He conquered many number of places by name Malwa, Jalore, Bundi, Mandor, and Tong. The honor of successful completion of southern Indian invasion goes to his general Malik Kafur. Malik Kafur invaded South India, conquered Devagiri, Warangal, Dwarasamudra, and Madurai. Tughlaq dynasty was founded by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. He shifted his capital from Delhi to Devagiri and later back from Devagiri to Delhi. The two main reasons for shifting of capital were to establish capital city at the center of vast empire, to protect the capital city from foreign invasions. Though the plan was good, proper precautions were not taken to implement this. Therefore, people had to suffer severely. Now, let us know about Lodi dynasty. Bahlul Lodi, Sikandar Lodi, and Ibrahim Lodi were the sultans of this dynasty. Ibrahim Lodi, the successor of Sikandar Lodi, was incompetent. Afghans were invited to invade India by the governors called Alam Khan and Daulat Khan. Babur, on the invitation of Daulat Khan Lodi, invaded India, defeated Ibrahim Lodi in the First Battle of Panipat in 1526 and established Mughal rule. Shankaracharya, birthplace Kaladi in Kerala. Shankaracharya parents were Shivaguru and Aryamba. His teacher was Govinda Bhagavat Pada. Shankaracharya propagated Advaita school of philosophy. According to this Advaita school of philosophy, Brahma is the absolute truth. The rest of the world is false. The soul is one with Brahma and life is not separate from Brahma. This is the principle of Advaita philosophy propagated by Shankaracharya. The works of Shankaracharya are Shankara Bhashya, Ananda Lahari, Saundarya Lahari, Shivananda Lahari, Viveka Chudamani, Prabuddha Sudhakara, and Dakshinamurti Stotra. His hymn Bhajagovindam is world famous. Now, let us know the important points related to Ramanujacharya. Ramanujacharya's birthplace is at Sri Perambadur near Chennai. His parents were Somayaji and Kantimati. His teachers were Yadava Prakash in Kanchi. His philosophy is called Vishishtadvaita. According to this philosophy of Vishishtadvaita, Jiva and Prakriti, that is, life and nature, are under the control of Brahma. Both Atma and Paramatma cannot become one simultaneously. Ramanujacharya wrote many books by name Vedanta Sangraha, Vedanta Sara, Vedanta Deepika, and Sri Bhashya. Now, let us know about Madhvacharya. Birthplace of Madhvacharya is Pajaka near Udupi. His parents were Madhva Bhatta and Vedavati. His teacher was Achyuta Preksha. He advocated Dvaita school of philosophy. Dvaita means two. According to this philosophy, the human soul and the divine soul are separate. Works of Madhvacharya: Gita Bhashya, Gita Tatparya Nirnaya, Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya, Vishnu Tatparya Nirnaya, Bhagavata Tatparya Nirnaya, Mayavada Khandana. Now, let us know about Basaveshwara. Birthplace of Basaveshwara was Bagewadi, Basavana Bagewadi of present Vijayapura. Parents, Madarasa and Madalambike. He took Linga Dikshe from Shaiva Guru and started practicing meditation. He dedicated himself to the removal of social evils from the society. According to him, Shiva Sharana should never discriminate anyone on the basis of caste, and he also said that purity of Atma is the only way to attain mukti, that is, salvation. He nurtured the culture of work is worship through his physical labor philosophy. Basavanna started a Sharana spiritual center called Anubhava Mantapa. It is at Basava Kalyana of present Bidar. Dear students, keep watching SP Sir's online learning YouTube channel and subscribe it so you will get notification and you can watch all the lessons important points in the examination point of view.